Are we live? All right, looks like we're live. Wait for a couple people to join, then we'll get started. Turn this bad boy down. All right, perfect. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and put the Zoom in the comments for anybody who wants to join on Zoom. If you guys have a hard time watching on Facebook or prefer to go into the Zoom, then I'm putting the link in there. So join us on Zoom. So I just put the Zoom link in the comments. And let me go ahead and launch that meeting, share the screen. Probably should have did that before. All right, there we go. There's Aviv. All right. Move this out of the way. Start recording here. All right, hello and welcome everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started with this year's edition of the Google Ads Crash Course. Let's go ahead and make my face a little bit smaller and jump right in. All right, so I did this last year. It was very popular. People learned a lot, so we are going to go ahead and do it again this year. There's been some changes in Google since last year, so it'll be pretty beneficial. Okay, if anybody can't hear me, go ahead and put it in the comments, but I think everybody can hear me. It should be loud and clear. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. This is basically an accelerated walkthrough of Google Ads. We're not going to go through every single detail. It's an accelerated walkthrough that runs through just the crash course basically to get you started, how to set up better ads that cost you less. And you literally get to look over my shoulder as I set up one of these Google Ads effectively. And then in the end, we're going to have a live Q&A over Zoom if you want to stick around. And I'm going to have a special offer for anybody who's interested in signing up for Google Ads with us this year. So let's jump right into it. This is basically for anybody who has very little knowledge of Google Ads or no knowledge at all. If you've ran Google Ads but you feel overwhelmed or you feel frustrated and you don't know where to start, this is exactly where you want to be. This is a perfect place for you. And especially if you don't have a large budget to work with. I've worked with marketers who required me to spend like $2,000 to $3,000 a month. So if that's not you, then perfect. And then even if you already have somebody running your Google Ads, this is perfect because you can learn a little bit more to learn basically to know whether your clicks are coming from ads or SEO, etc. So quick introduction on me as always. My name is Tariq. I run Belt & Smythe House Party Rentals near Chicago, and I also founded and launched EventHawk and Event Professional Marketing LLC, digital marketing agency for party rentals. I actually went to school. I was in the middle of getting my master's in marketing, business and marketing, but then I quit so I can run my party rental company. And I always said I'd go back to it, but then I started doing more marketing, and then COVID hit, and now I do marketing full time. It's pretty awesome. So we still do the rentals as well, but this is what I do full time. Real quick, show you guys some of our results so you make sure, why the heck am I talking to you guys about Google Ads? Why do I think I know so much? We've been running Google Ads. That's pretty much the first thing. We do a lot of things: Google Ads, Facebook Ads, EventHawk. Google Ads is kind of our bread and butter. This is where everything starts, getting traffic to your website. And we knew that we had to master this, right? So we've been doing Google Ads professionally for about 1.5 years, almost 2 years now, actually. And this is just one of our clients on Google. They spent just under $9,000 and they made $65,000, fully trackable. And then their cost per click was 92 cents, and their click-through rate was over 10%. So this is just one. I'll show you guys some more examples later on, but just to show you we know what we're doing. Anytime we talk about stuff like this, I always say look for the 2 R's. If you're going to hire somebody for anything, look for the 2 R's: reviews and results. Reviews and results. If somebody can show you the results that they can bring you and reviews that from other people like you, then they're worth their weight in gold, because not only can they deliver, they also have good service. That's what we focus on all the time: getting people getting people results, and also being able to show that they're happy with us. So enough about me. Let's start talking about Google. So why does everybody focus on Google, or why should you be focusing on Google more than anything else, more than Facebook or Yelp or anything else out there? Google is the #1 search engine in the world. Okay, people go to Google when they're searching for products or services. Okay, they search for Google right now for what you're selling. Okay, there's people right now looking for bounce house rentals, water slide rentals, yard signs, etc. If you're not there, if you're not at the top, then you're really missing out. You're missing a big seat at the table. What I love about Google is there's no minimum budget and there's no long-term commitments. You can switch your ads on and off. I'm in Chicago. We're very seasonal. I love that I can just shut off my ads without any repercussions. When we worked with Yelp, the minute we shut off our ads with them because we're seasonal, boom, all of our reviews were gone. So Google works. It's awesome. They're #1 for a reason. You definitely want to focus most of your marketing efforts on the Google Search Console because that's where people go. So how soon do you see results with Google? Google's very fast. As soon as your ads are approved, and that's usually like a day or so, Google ads start to run. But Google ads is not a one-time gig. I get asked all the time, can you just set up my account and I pay you for that, and then I do the rest on my own. I mean, we don't charge. We don't have a long-term contract, so you could just hire us for a month and then fire us. But anybody, I believe that if that's offered, I don't believe that that's not how it works. So I can't offer you that in good faith because realistically, setting up the account for us is the easy part. I mean, we have templates for that stuff. We get most accounts set up within a day. We ask for 2 weeks, but usually if we're not backed up, then within a day we could set up the whole account and boom, the setup's done. That's the easy part. The hard part, or the more challenging part or strategic part, is optimizing the account. So that's why it's really not a set it and forget it type thing. Newer ads require more frequent optimization as well than ads that are already running. And it really can be expensive or affordable. You get to decide based on how well you follow Google's recommendations. So quick breakdown of SEO versus Google Ads. A lot of people are confused. They're not sure what the difference is between AdWords and SEO. Google Ads used to be called AdWords, but basically the difference is SEO is organic, and that includes the map pack and the top listings here. SEO is free. I mean, it's not free if you hire somebody, but you don't pay anything to Google to rank on SEO. But if you're willing to pay 50 cents per click, $1 per click, or up to $2 per click from what we've seen, you can show up all the way at the top above the organic listings. And that's the two big benefits of running Google Ads, because some people are like, hey, well, I rank really well. Why should I run Google Ads? If you have more than enough work, if you can't take on any more work, then don't run Google Ads. But if you want more work, by running ads, you show up not only over the organic listings, but also over the map pack, and you show up all the way at the top, and you can customize your message. So these guys here, they spent a ton on SEO. They did great. But if they want to change up their message tomorrow to say we have an Easter special, they can't do that. These guys, because they're paying, in our industry, like 50 cents to $1 a click or something like that, overnight I can change your message to say, hey, we got an Easter special, we got a 4th of July. You could change it based on the season or COVID. When COVID hit, for a lot of our clients, right in front, we clean and sanitize all units. We know COVID's going on. So when you're running ads, you can do that versus only relying on organic. It would take months possibly to rank again. So what's more important, SEO or Google Ads? You need a balance, right? Our philosophy is the newer the company, the more emphasis you need, on Google Ads, right? Eventually, you want to get to a point where it's almost 50-50. And again, that's our belief, because again, Google Ads is going to get you money instantly. You definitely need to focus on SEO because that's long-term. SEO is your reputation. The minute you shut off your Google Ads, you stop getting Google Ads results, but your SEO is going to last. So again, the bad thing about SEO is it takes a while, and it's just a long-term thing. So if you want money now, you want bookings now, our seasons are usually really short. We're talking 6 months or less sometimes. So in those peak seasons, you run your ads, so you make sure that you empty out your warehouse, and then when you're not too busy, then you don't run ads. That's, again, I mean, everybody runs their business differently, but you definitely need a balance. If you're a newer company, it's going to be really hard to rank organically, but Google Ads, within a couple weeks, you can rank along with companies that have been around 20 years just because you're running ads. For SEO, good luck. It could take a while depending on how competitive your area is and how populated. So that's kind of the whole breakdown between Google Ads and SEO. You definitely need a balance, but you also need to know the difference. So how does Google Ads work anyways? So the way Google Ads works is really simple. If your ads are clicked, then you pay a cost per click, right? It's that simple. You only pay when somebody clicks, okay? So how much do you pay? Well, your cost per click, or your CPC, depends on a lot of factors, including the relevance of your ads, right? They're not spammy. They're, if you're sending them to a page about bounce house rentals, your ad should say bounce house rentals. Your website, right? How your website is set up and the keywords on your website, and also how often people click your ad. If nobody clicks your ad, you don't pay, but that also messes with your score. And Google's like, well, how come nobody's clicking this person's ad? Something must be wrong. So they'll tax you for that, or they'll make it harder for you to advertise because they're not sure if you're giving their customers a good experience. So Google's customers is not you. You represent Google. The customer is the person searching. So Google wants you to represent them well with good, clean ads. If you do that, they'll reward you with cheaper ads. If you don't, then they'll penalize you with more expensive ads. So again, the most important thing to know is that your cost per click also depends on your competitors, because Google Ads is an auction. A lot of people don't realize that Google Ads is an auction. It's a pretty fair auction though. It's not the highest bidder wins. It depends on your quality, like we just said, but it is an auction. And the reason that's important is back to what we said. It's not something you could set and forget. As your competitors adjust your bids, you'll need to adapt accordingly as well. So when you have somebody like us running your ads, that's really the bulk of it. It's not the setup. It's adjusting your bids throughout the season based on what your competitors are doing, based on how many competitors you have, etc. So that's really where it matters most with the continuous running of the ads. So let's talk about the structure of Google Ads, getting right into it. So within your Google Ads account, okay, let me see if I can get one of these pointers. Cool. Within your Google Ads account, you have campaigns. Within each campaign, you have groups of ads called ad groups. And within each group of ads or ad groups, you have keywords that trigger ads. So when somebody types in this keyword, it triggers this ad, which is located in this ad group, which is located in this campaign. All right, I know I lost all of you guys right now. So let's look at a real life example. Okay. So and by the way, feel free to put any questions you guys have in the comments. If I don't answer them within the webinar, I'll go back and answer them towards the end. So this is how we set up some of our campaigns or some of our accounts. So we have a bounce house campaign, okay, and the campaign determines the budget and the location. So we like to create a campaign for each category, because for my tents, I'm willing to maybe travel a little farther than I am for my bounce houses. So if we have them all in the same campaign, then you can't set different distances. And same thing with budget. Everything in a campaign shares the same budget. So if I have one budget for my bounce houses and my tents, you're always going to get more people looking for bounce houses usually than tents. So by noon, your bounce house budget might be depleted, even though you only make a couple $100 per bounce house. But your tents, where you make a couple $1,000 possibly, they're no longer going to show up because they share the same budget. So you want to give a different campaign and a different budget and a different location for each one of your items so that you can really profit, right? So beyond that, bounce houses, we break down into ad groups, so we have bounce houses and inflatables into two different ad groups. And this is if you really, really want to set up your account correctly, because we'll talk about this in a minute, but the keywords that trigger the bounce house ads should say bounce house, and the ads should also say bounce house. And the keywords that trigger the inflatable ads should say inflatable, and the ad should also say inflatable. The more relative it all is, the more the keyword matches the ads, the higher your score is, the lower your cost is, okay? So that's why we break them up into ad groups. So you could inflatables, bounce house, same thing, right? Yeah, but if you put them together, then your quality score, because it's hard to fit, inflatable, water slide, bounce house, rental, unicorn, all in one ad. So the more you separate it, the more you segment, the higher your score is. And that's why we're typically able to reduce any ad account that we take over by 200 to 300%. We come in and somebody's paying $3, $4 a click, we can easily bring them under $1, depending again how competitive their market is. And this is how we do it. We put in the work. It's more work, but it gives them a better reputation with Google, and it also gives them cheaper ads. So it's a win-win. So this is an example. Most, when we take over an account, a lot of times it just has party rentals and everything is in there. Okay, you have a bunch of ad groups in there. We divide them into different ad groups. So instead of having all your ads and all your keywords into one, and you got 600 keywords in here, we will go ahead and create a separate campaign in Google for each one of these products, and each campaign has its own budget. It has its own location if you're willing to travel farther for certain things, and then it also has its own ads. So the difference comes down to hunting with a grenade versus a sniper. I love this analogy here because when you have everything in one campaign and you just put in a bunch of keywords, I believe, and what we've seen is it's like hunting with a grenade. And people are happy, hey, I got a bunch of clicks, right? But the quality is really low because your ads don't match your keywords because you have stuff all over the place. So when your campaigns are less specific and you have less specific ad groups and you have more keywords in each ad group, you end up with a lot of casualties in a more expensive campaign, but it's much easier. It's much less time consuming to do things this way because you just throw it and boom, you get something. When you're using a sniper, you got to take your time, okay? It's less expensive, but it's more time consuming, but it's much more effective. And you get much higher quality clicks, but to do that, you need much more specific campaigns. You need much more specific ad groups, and you also need less but more specific keywords in each ad group. Again, by doing this, we've gotten incredible results, and I'll show you more of those later. So let's go ahead and jump into Google Ads right now. I promised you guys will literally watch me set this all up. So let's do it. So I'm going to get out of this presentation here, and I'm going to go to Google Ads. And this is a perfect example. So these are a couple of my own marketing ads that I'm running. But you can see each one has its own campaign. Let me see if I can pull up our old, we haven't ran ads in a while for my rental side. Well, all right, we'll just go ahead and create one. But you get the idea. You have a different campaign for each one with a different budget and a different location. And then you could see how much your water slides spent and how much your water slides made, how much your bounce house spent, how much your bounce house made. Each one is much more clear than when you jumble it all up together. So we're going to go ahead and start a campaign from scratch. So you want to log into your Google Ads, and to do that, let me just get rid of this. You go to ads.google.com. Okay, by going to ads.google.com, that'll take you to Google Ads. You hit sign in. If you don't have an account, then you create an account. Okay. So once you're in there, you're going to click this little plus sign to create a new campaign. And just click new campaign. And here, Google gives you some options, right? Do you want to get more sales? Do you want to get more leads? Do you want more website traffic? So which one do you guys think we should pick? See if we get some answers here. See if anybody's watched any of my previous videos who knows the answer. I'll give it 10 seconds. Anybody?
Probably the bottom left.
Bottom left?
Website traffic.
Website traffic? Okay. All right, correct answer is none. You do not want Google's guidance. So what these options do is they will water down the whole Google Ads machine for you, and they will strip away a bunch of settings so that you can go ahead and it'll look better, it'll be easier, but you will not be able to customize this thing the way you want to customize. So we want to tell Google, no thank you, I got this, I'm a professional, I don't want any guidance. Joe said no guidance, my man. So I don't want Google's guidance because remember, Google is not Facebook. Facebook is going to track people based on interests and demographics and things like that. But Google is more straightforward. If somebody searches bounce house rental near me, I want to show up. I don't need your guidance, Google. No, thank you. By doing this, Google is going to start excluding certain things. I guess it's good for like really large companies who have 1,000,001 things, like let's say like, I don't know, Walmart or something like that. Maybe, you know, this kind of stuff up. They're trying to be more like Facebook and water it down for you, make it easier on the eyes. But really, it's just gonna, if you know what you're doing and you follow this step by step, you'll do really good. We don't want Google's help. No, thank you. Next, what kind of campaign do you want? Do you want a search campaign, display campaign, shopping? Again, a lot of this is more of the same. The most valuable thing about Google is these search campaigns, okay? These search campaigns, it's more time consuming. It can look more confusing, but this is where you get to really set up your settings based on whatever you want and what works for your industry, which I'll show you guys how to do. So the smart campaigns are kind of like boosting ads on Facebook. Some of these work, okay, but again, it really limits your control and it gives Google full control. So you want to hit search here. Create no guidance here, search here, and then here you could put your website if you want, you know, eventhawk360.com. Just put in your website. And this is just going to help get keywords or whatever. You don't even have to do this, but let's go ahead and hit continue. So remember, we said there's three sections in the account, okay? So we start with the campaign. So we just created the campaign. Now we created the campaign. Now we're gonna go into the campaign settings. Let's get out of this. Okay, so we are now in the campaign settings. Then we go into the ad group. Then we go to the ads. Okay, so now we're here. We're starting at the top. Okay, so now we're gonna name the campaign, and I'm gonna call this one Bounce Houses. Okay, this is my Bounce House campaign. All right. What networks do you want to show these ads on? Okay, so search network and display network are two different networks that Google offers. You do not want either. These are just, again, this is where they show your ads in different, you know, partner websites like ESPN, or if you're reading an article, you'll see the ad. No, thank you, Google. I just want to show up when people are ready to spend money. Okay, I don't want to pay for clicks for when people are trying to read an article and I'm bugging them. That works on Facebook, Google not so much. Okay, so we don't want either one of these. Make sure these are off. Okay, and you're just going down the list. Show more settings. Okay, start date, end date. You can leave that. You know, we don't want to end date. Campaign URL, dynamic ad settings, ad schedule. I don't care for any of this. Okay, I'm showing you guys how we do this. We've got tons of clients. We're working with hundreds of clients between all of our different stuff, and this is how we set it all up for them, and this is how we get great results. So you guys follow what I'm doing to a T. You'll do really well. So now your locations. Okay, you're gonna hit enter a different location. Okay. You don't want, you know, all of United States, all of US and Canada. No, we want to separate. We want to put in our own location. And then from here, you go to advanced search. Okay. So this is where you can put in your cities that you want to target. For example, Chicago, right? I can target Chicago, exclude Chicago. You could do that and you'll target one city. What I prefer to do is use a radius. Okay. And I'll put in, for example, you know, a zip code 60482, and I'll say, you know, 20 miles around that radius. So, oops, no, wrong one. So 60482, and I have target this zip code here. So 20 miles around here. Now I have this radius. Now I can hit save. That's what I like to do. If you want to put certain cities that you service and certain that you don't, you can do that. But I like the radius option so I know how far I'm traveling from my warehouse. So I click save. And it seems to be all good now, right? Big mistake. Google got one more curveball for you hidden right here. They don't even show it. You're going to want to keep scrolling, but you're going to go right here and click location options. And by default, they're going to show your ads to anybody regularly in, or anybody who's shown interest in your targeted location. Okay, so if you're in Florida and you're thinking about traveling to Chicago, right, you're going to start seeing ads for Bounce House. And if you're searching for a Bounce House ad in Chicago, now you're going to start seeing those ads just because you're traveling to Chicago. This is good for hotels, car rentals. For us, this is terrible. You're going to keep getting stuff from out of state and out of areas. We want to pick this option right here. We only want to show our ads to people in or regularly in the targeted location. And that pretty much says that they live there, right? So this is the option that you want to set. Scroll down a bit. Sorry, if you guys are in the Zoom, if you don't mind just muting yourselves. Languages, I don't really touch. Audience, I don't really touch because I want to show up for everybody. I want the biggest impression share in my area. I don't care how old you are. I don't care what sex you are. If you're looking for a bounce house rental, I want to show up, right? And then my budget. So remember, this is budget, how much I want to spend daily on Google Ads for this particular category. Now, Google knows that if they tell you, you're going to spend $1,000 a month, you're going to be like, oh my God, that's a lot. But if they break it down by day, you feel a lot better, right? So this is where you set how much you want to spend per day. I like to start with $10 no matter what. Whether it's a big client, little client, $10 gives you an idea. Once you start running ads, you should be able to see a percentage of how far that $10 is getting you out of 100%. So $10 is a good place to start. If you set up your ads the way I'm showing you, you may spend $10, you may spend less. You only spend what you need. That's not always the case. I'm going to show you next. This next part here, you may end up spending the whole $10 on one click, but not if you do things the way I'm about to show you, okay? So this is your daily budget for your Bounce House campaign, okay? So $10 a day for your Bounce House campaign. Now, this is a really big one here. What do you want to focus on, right? And they give you these options. You want to focus on conversions, which is could be like sales, calls, conversion value, like how much, like you could tell Google how big of a sale you want, right? How much do you want, the value to be? Clicks or impression share. So anybody is going to say, man, I want conversions, right? I want sales. That's what I want. Big mistake. Google is going to try to use their machine learning to show your ads to spend that $10 to get you as many sales as possible. Well, let me break everybody's heart here, or most people's heart. Google Ads will not get you a single sale. The purpose of marketing or ads in general is not to get you sales. It's to get you traffic. Your website is what converts the traffic into sales. You are what converts the traffic into sales. I can make your phone ring, but I can't sell for you. All right. I've lost clients because they're like, hey, this isn't working. I'm not making any money. I've gotten you incredibly low cost per clicks. I've gotten you a ton of traffic. You need to optimize your website. If your website is not optimizing, is not converting traffic, then you're just not going to make money. We could think about a billboard, right? I could put together a crazy sick billboard, send you a bunch of traffic to your store. If your store is nasty and it's confusing and there's no sales people and nobody, I'm looking for help and nobody can help me, then I'm going to leave, right? It's, all that advertising didn't help. So that's what we do. We help you with the billboard part. We help get you the foot traffic. Your store is what gets the conversions. So no thank you, Google. I don't want you to help me sell. Just get me the traffic. And you don't want, and again, I'll stress this a little bit more. You don't want an all-in-one solution. Don't look for something online, get me more sales and traffic and all that. It's better to specialize. Work with a traffic specialist, with a sales specialist. And that's why we founded EventHawk, for that exact reason. I've been working with clients all last year, and a lot of them did great, but a lot of them, they just had traffic, but not enough bookings. So that's why we came up with that, to help with that, because it's a totally separate thing where Google gets you the traffic. EventHawk helps guarantee that traffic will turn into bookings. So what you're going to want to do here, since my rant's over, is you're going to want to click select a bid strategy directly. Okay. And this is not recommended. Now, rule of thumb, anytime something is not recommended, it's probably good for you and not good for Google. Not always, okay, not always, but that's typically how it goes. If something is not recommended, it's because it's probably best for you, right? So you want to click this right here. I want to select my own bidding strategy, and Google's going to tell you, hey, we don't recommend you do this. Yeah, because they want you to make money, or they don't want you to make money. So, or they want to make more money, I should say. So we're going to click on select the bid strategy directly, and now you can click which bid strategy you want, not which result you want. And from here, the best bid strategy to use eventually is manual cost per click, because you can control the cost per click, so you can control everything 100% without filters. So this is the one that I like eventually, but in the beginning, what we learned is a lot of accounts will not do well with this. You need to get more data, okay? And after you have data, after you have a bunch of clicks, then you could switch over to manual. So this is the one that I recommend you start with if you're just starting out, or if you don't have a lot of data in your account or in the campaign. If it's a new campaign like this, we've gotten the best results when we start with maximize clicks. So we click this here, and then we go ahead and scroll down, right? Wrong, because now we've told Google that we want as many clicks as possible for $10. Well, you got to set a cap. If you don't set a cap at a maximum cost per click, then that whole $10 could be spent at one click. It's happened to me, honestly. So you want to set a cap. So for me, I'll always cap it at $1. And this is telling Google, give me as many clicks as possible for this 10 bucks, and I'm willing to pay up to $1 a click. That's pretty fair, right? You may pay less, you may pay a little more, but I think usually with this one, it usually caps at $1, right? So you're done there, and show more settings, conversions, ad rotation, site links. All right, so this stuff here, I want to talk about, but I wouldn't recommend doing this here, because if you screw something up here, all of your settings are gone. I'd rather you hit save and continue and then come back to these site links and stuff. So save and continue. So now our campaign settings are done. We know that we're doing a bounce house campaign. That's what we named it. We know the area, and we know how much we're paying per day, right? Now we're going to set up the ad group. Okay, this is a group of ads. And because I put my website, they gave me a bunch of recommended keywords. Okay, get rid of all of them. You don't want it. Okay. For bounce house rental, you're going to want to just think about. You could use a keyword. I'll tell you exactly what keywords we use. You know, for bounce house, we use bounce house rental. That's it. Bounce house rental. This is going to bring in bounce house rental near me. It's going to bring in, unicorn bounce house rental, cheap bounce house rental. So that one, if you don't want cheap, then you're going to have to add that as a negative keyword. But this is what you're going to want to do. Okay. Now the problem is this is broad match, and we'll talk about broad match keywords in a bit. This can bring in literally. This can bring in ads for car rental because the word rental is in there, the way you have it here. Google's always trying to improve their AI, but to fix this, put them in quotations. When you put them in quotations, this is called phrase match, and this tells Google that I want to show up for any time somebody searches bounce house rental, all 3 words have to be in there in that order. Won't always work out that way, but technically that's how it's supposed to work. So that's it. I mean, this keyword is going to bring in probably 90% of your traffic, right? So save and continue. And now we did the ad group. We put the keywords. Now we're going to set up the ads, okay? So this is the ad. And by default, Google is now showing you a responsive ad. So a responsive ad is where you put together a bunch of headlines, a bunch of descriptions, and Google will kind of, if you look here, it's going to vary them depending on what Google thinks people are going to click. Again, if you guys have listened to anything I said, I like to be in control. Okay, I know what my business needs. I don't. Anytime I've trusted Google for the most part, that's right here. They sneak it in there, and it's like, oh my God, no, don't. We don't recommend this. Again, if it's not recommended, do it for the most part. And this is where you can build out your ad exactly the way you want it. And yes, it's more work, but when you do it this way, you can create 3 different ads, run them equally, and then decide which one actually does better. You give all 3 a chance versus letting Google kind of decide, right? So number 1 here, your URL has to have, HTTPS. Otherwise, it's not going to accept it. Your headlines, you got 3 headlines, okay? So those show up here. They're not always going to show up this way. Let me switch over to desktop so you can see it. So you're not always going to get all 3 headlines to show up, but if you put in all 3, then you're going to have a higher chance of getting shown all 3. So your most important message needs to be in the headline, okay? So this is where you're going to tell people exactly what you want them to know most, okay? I'll go through some more best practices, but Google wants you to capitalize the first letter of each word, etc. I'll show you guys some of those later. But these headlines, you want to test the different headlines. Change up the headlines and run 3 different ads for the same keywords and see how those do. The display path is not a real path. This one confused me for a while. The display path is just to make your URL look pretty, okay? So I'm going to put bounce house rental, okay? If my website was eventhawk360.com and you were looking for a bounce house and you see this ad, okay, it looks great, but the website is eventhawk360. It's like, am I really going to the right website? But then once you put this here, this display URL, you're like, oh, okay, so this is going to take me to a page that talks about bounce houses. I feel a little better clicking this link because it's talking about exactly what I'm looking for. So if you've figured it out by now, You want your keyword to match your headline, to match your display URL, and to also match your description. Okay, and that's how you create a really high quality ad in Google's eyes. That's what their machine AI is going to look for. They want to see, they're going to give the cheapest clicks to the people who set up keywords that match headlines, that match this. Click save and continue. And voila, you're all done. Now you have an ad. Okay, you can go ahead and publish it. I'll cancel it in a bit here. But now if you go to all campaigns, you can see the ad that we just created, Bounce House. Okay, I'm going to turn it off, pause it. But you see now we have Bounce House, $10 a day, and then all this stuff here, all the results. So we talked about, there's one more thing I want to show you guys, how to make your ad a little bit larger. You want to do like extensions. I think we'll talk about that in here. So let me switch back here. So where were we? All right, so we set up the Bounce House campaign. So that's how you basically set it up all together. And let's talk about a little bit what we covered. So remember, the keywords, okay, need to match the headline in the ad, the display URL in the ad, and the description in the ad. And to really get a really good score, you also want that same keyword to match your landing page. So that's why it's beneficial to send the Bounce House ads to the Bounce House page, the water slide ads to the water slide page. You want to make sure that it says that same keyword that's mostly searched by people. And that's why a lot of people will have their combos, Bounce House combos, you know, in a category on their own, and they'll put it right on their website. Well, most people don't search the word combos, right? People just search Bounce House, even though they may want a combo. They don't know the difference, or they don't think that way. They don't think to search that way. So that's why we always recommend, sure, keep your Bounce House combos separate than your Bounce Houses, but you should also have a third category that has them all together, and that's where you want to send your marketing campaigns, and just put Bounce House rental right at the top and put all your stuff in there, because or put two categories. Do you want one with a slide or one without a slide? So that's why we always encourage people to do that. So let's talk about keywords. Now, this is probably the most important part of Google Ads. It's getting less and less important as Google's machine is learning a little bit better. But we have different keyword match types, and this is where most people drop the ball with Google Ads. Let me move my face up here. So the broad match keyword would be Bounce House rental, and it can show up for buy a Bounce House, car rentals, home appliances, how to patch a Bounce House. All of these searches could technically show up from the keyword Bounce House rental. The reason is, when you put it like this without any quotation marks or plus signs or brackets, Google can technically show your ad as long as any one of these words is in a search or it's close variants. So home appliances may show up for Bounce House rental. I kid you not, because the word house is kind of like the word home, and the word house is in the keyword search, so you could show up. Again, this is happening less and less often as Google is configuring their AI, but you should not just throw keywords in there without any symbols. This is my favorite one to use, the plus signs, because this tells Google that anytime these three words are in a search, as long as they're in there together, they don't have to be in the same order, but as long as they're in there together, I want you to show my ads. I use this all the time. It's pretty much the only one we use. Of course, Google is now discontinuing this one. It was literally our favorite one. It was literally the one that brings in the best traffic, and we can customize the most. This one they're phasing out in 2021. So I think mid-year, June or July, we got an email the other day. This one and this one are going to be combined. So Bounce House with the plus signs is going to be combined with the phrase match, and they flat out said this will start bringing you worse results or less accurate results, which is frustrating because now we have to go back into all our accounts. It's fine until like June or whatever. So now we're putting both because I really want to see the difference. I don't trust their machine learning. So we're going to see, but that leaves us with only one choice, which is phrase match. So according to Google, phrase match is now going to do what this one used to do or is doing now, and it will do historically later on. So you just want to put them in quotations, and this will keep them in the same order. Okay, so this will bring in bounce house rental, cheap bounce house rentals, jumpy house rental near me, because bounce is similar to close variants of jumpy. So sorry. So that's what these will bring. This will bring in a wide variety of stuff. Okay. And the next exact match is where you want the exact match. Bounce house rental. I don't want any words before bounce house rental or after bounce house rental, but Google will still have close variances. And this does not really work no matter how exact you try to be. Google still seems to do whatever they feel like. So I don't really use this one much. We primarily use these two, and that's what I would recommend you use. Probably the most important match type is negative keywords, and this is where you get rid of all the keywords you don't want to show up for. Okay, so like the word free, the word cheap, the word Amazon, the word whatever, any keywords that you don't want to show up for. This is where you would exclude them, and you just put a negative sign next to the keyword, and it's best to do it like this: negative, and then put the keyword in quotations, and that seems to bring us the most accurate results. Now, if you're working with us, I compiled a master negative keyword list over the years, and I share it. I compiled the list from all of my clients. We built this one big master list, and from day one, from when you start with us, we plug that negative keyword list that we've collected from all of our clients over the years, and we put it into your account, and immediately it gets rid of like 99% of BS traffic, so you don't get those calls for tool rental or house rental. Those were frustrating to get for a while. So right away, you don't have to wait. Like literally overnight, your account is going to be clean. It's going to stop getting all those junk clicks. So it's really important to start building a keyword list, a negative keyword list. So this is a basic example of an ad, and I don't think we're going to have time to go over the extensions, but basically a basic Google ad will look like this. Okay, what you want it to look like is more like, like this. So this is an ad with extensions, and extensions are basically little snippets and links that give you more real estate on Google, and it doesn't cost you any more money. It's awesome. So this here is a review extension. This here is a site link extension. You can have site links for, bounce houses, water slides, etc. This is a promotion extension where you can have. I mean, you look at these three ads. Which one are you clicking, right? This one, this one says $10 a day. That caught my attention. This one has 40% off. This one, if I'm looking for Vegas, I'm like, oh, this guy's serve Vegas. So it's really important to use these extensions. I'll see if we can go back and cover them in a bit. But those really give you more real estate on Google, and it's free. But it doesn't always show up. So these guys may have set up their extensions, but Google, sometimes they'll show them, sometimes they won't, and nobody knows why. They decide. So best practices when creating ads. A lot of these are weird, but you just got to do it. You want to capitalize the first letter of each word, and that's how I always know when I see competitors' ads. Or when I'm working with a client and I see their competitor, I could always tell if they're working with somebody that's an expert, or if they're just kind of doing them on their own. Look at the capitalization. If they capitalize the first letter of each word, then you know that they're either working with somebody or they took a course like this. You want to have an attention-grabbing headline. Okay, so you want to have an attention-grabbing headline that just kind of really gets people to stop. Right? It's really important, and you want to make sure that your most important message is in the headline. Don't do a bunch of intros and a bunch of, we're the best company. No, put whatever your biggest message is, put it right in the headline. And you want a high volume of keywords and proper punctuation in the headlines, right? As much as possible, right? You want to use the top keywords in the descriptions, and you want to have an intriguing description with a clear call to action in the description. A call to action is like, call now, book today. You'd be surprised. Just saying that makes a big difference, believe it or not. And then create the display URL path as well. Top reasons for disapproval. If you put in all caps, or if you're cursing or promoting gambling, alcohol, pornography, weapons, or tobacco. Why am I telling you guys this? Because if you're trying to market like beer pong or adult games or things like that, then it's probably going to be rejected for that reason. Okay. Extra punctuations, extra spaces. In the headline, you only want one space between each letter. More than one explanation point in a description, like this, buy now, 3 explanations. That's going to get your ad rejected. Unnecessary use of symbols or symbols used incorrectly, like a plus sign to represent an and, or gimmicky capitalizations like this in spelling. Emojis. You can't use emojis in the ads. So how long have we been running? 43 minutes. Let's go back to Google and let me show you guys the extensions real quick. So when you're in your campaigns here, okay, move this. You can go to ads and extensions, and you see your ads, and you can go to extensions, and this is where you create your extensions, okay? So I hate this new look, but I like to switch over back to the table. But if you go to the plus sign here, you pick which kind of extension you want to create. So site link extensions are extensions for different pages on your website, right? So you want to link to the water slide page, to the obstacle course page, the packages page. That's when you see those 4 links, kind of like we saw here. Okay, so those are site links. Those are probably the most important ones. And it's super simple to do these. You just click site link extension, and you put where the URL you want them to go. So, you know, partyrentals.com/bouncehouses. The next one will be partyrentals.com/waterslides. You know, your website, and make sure you're copying these URLs straight from the address bar, because you need the HTTPS and all that stuff. And you give it a name. So bounce houses, water slides, and try to put 4 of them. But see, now it looks like this. And you should add description text as well. So now you get, it's supposed to show the actual description, but that's how you set these up, okay? Next, let's show you, so there's 4 of them that we'd like to set up. So, oops. So, so we talked about the site link extensions. Next, let's talk about the call out extensions. And these are things that make your business unique, right? So these are going to just show up here after the ad, okay? And these would be like 5-star company. If you have free delivery, this is where you put that. Anything unique, anything that your competitors don't have, you know, A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Anything unique that sets you apart from your competition, you want to put here. And it kind of shows up at the end. I mean, it's not really going to make that big of a difference, but I have had people call me and mention some of this stuff. So set them up, you know, it can't hurt. It just makes your ad look larger. The next one we're going to show is structured snippet extension. And this is what kind of services you offer. So this is kind of like the last one, but you got to pick a type. So I like to do types, styles. You can do like for hotels, amenities, what courses you're selling. I just like to do types, and you could do, you know, bounce houses, water slides, etc. What I like to do, since I'm already using the site link extensions, I like to show who I work with. So backyard parties, church events, school events. So that's what I like to list here, because I mean, I already have the site links with what I do. So I like to list those like that. And the last one we'll talk about is call extension. And that's where your phone number shows up, where they can just click to call. It doesn't get used a lot because they have to click before they go to your website. So you just put your phone number here, you know, 888-123-4567, and it'll show up like that. Now, I have had issues sometimes with some of these clients saying that the number that they Google ends up switching it with a number that's not their number or something like that. So just be careful. Whenever you set these up or anything phone number related, go to your ad and check and make sure that the phone number is in fact the number that works for you, okay? Or that it's, because they may change the number, but it should forward to your number. Like they'll change it to a Google number so that they can track it, right? I started out doing this on my own. I mean, I hired a company. I wasn't happy with their work because they flat out couldn't tell me how much money I was making from my ads. That was my biggest issue. How much money am I making from my ads? How many bookings did I get from the ads versus SEO versus organic? And they couldn't tell me. They're like, well, we got you this many clicks and this many phone calls. Okay, but how many actual bookings, right? They couldn't answer that question. So you know, it's doable on your own. I had to spend a lot of money and time taking courses and wasted ad spend to get to where I am today. And honestly, my rental company did struggle because it really comes down to time and money. I mean, the more you do on your own, the less you can do some of your, some of the things that nobody else can do. If you can delegate something, you really should. But from here, you just got to set up your conversion tracking, which your booking software may help you with. You want to monitor results, optimize your account, keep learning. I'm always learning. Believe it or not, I have mentors on payroll who I pay monthly or per session to update me on all the new things Google and Facebook come out with, because it's always something new. And sometimes I run into issues, and it's good to have another set of eyes that's, that can mentor me or quickly help me with a client. That's really how we got the reputation we have. We're never stagnant. We're always learning. Most importantly, guys, don't be cheap. I know a lot of you guys, we don't want to spend. We want to do as much as possible. I get it. You guys worked really hard to start your business. I was the same way. But again, what it comes down to is time and money. Should you hire somebody or not? If you have all the time in the world and your business, you're not getting many bookings, then sure, learn it on your own. But if you want more bookings and you want to focus on things like optimizing your business and training your guys and making sure that everything is running efficiently, then that's only you can do that. You can't hire somebody to run your business the way that you run your business, but you can hire somebody to run your Google Ads. You can hire somebody to do your accounting. You can hire somebody to a booking software to automate your website. If you're going to do everything on your own and be cheap about it, eventually, really, it's just going to make things much harder for you, and you're never going to reach your full potential. So that's really my thing. It took me a while to understand that. I mean, I for a long time I was just like you guys. I never realized that I was that customer. I always complain about the customers that want a $50 bounce house, and sometimes I didn't realize that was me. Sometimes I'm always lowballing for marketing and services that I wanted. I never wanted to pay anybody, a high value or a high ticket price because I'm like, oh, that's too much. I don't want to pay that much. Well, if they're bringing in the results and they have the reviews, then you should pay them that much, right? Just like you do with your rentals. If somebody says, oh, you're too expensive, I'm going to go with somebody cheaper. Sure, go with somebody cheaper. I mean, we bring value. We have high quality, and we're insured and licensed and all that. So we charge what we're worth. And that's how you got to look at other businesses as well. It's hard to look the other way, but you really should. So let me show you guys a few more results, and then I'll tell you guys what we charge for all this stuff if you guys wanted to hire. So this is a small company that spent over the past summer $1,300 in Google Ads. We were able to get them almost $10,000 in bookings, and they only spent 88 cents a click. And by the way, all these results that I'm showing you guys is before EventHawk came into the picture. Once EventHawk came into the picture, we launched EventHawk like in October for everybody. So EventHawk is like tripling these numbers now. It's crazy. So this is a small company. This is a medium-sized company. They spent $3,000 on Google Ads past summer and made $30,000. So that's 10-to-1 ROI. It's amazing. And this is a really large multi-million-dollar company we manage ads for. They spent $11,000 on Google Ads and made $227,000. And this is all trackable within their booking software. This is crazy. 24% click-through rate. 1 out of 4 people click their ad. I can't take all the credit for this stuff, but obviously we help. But some of these companies do really well. Just they come out swinging right out the door. So everybody gets different results. But if you guys want these kind of results, then do what I kind of showed you. That's kind of the starting point. But just setting it that way and forgetting it or walking away, it's well worth it. So you got to ask yourself, getting a 10-to-1 return, or like this guy, like a 20-to-1 return, what's that worth to you? And that's the number that you got to put. How many rentals are you willing to sacrifice? If you're getting, like, let's say $300 a rental, how many of those are you willing to sacrifice per month to hire somebody, like me or somebody else, or even take a course yourself to learn this stuff? This is a client that started with us just a week ago. I literally just got this yesterday. really, really impressive. I can't believe how well they did so fast. Not everybody gets these results, full disclosure, but every one of our clients gets a report like this. Every one of our marketing clients, whether it's Facebook or Google, you get a report like this once we start verifying some of the results. And we tell clients, this is our job, the stuff in blue, this is your job. My job is to get you the clicks for the lowest cost and the highest click-through rate. Your job is to convert those clicks into sales. But I mean, this guy's killing it. I mean, literally, he's a smaller guy too. It wasn't even a big company, like small to medium. And right out the bat, you got 73 clicks. Like that hasn't even been 2 weeks. And the booking software they're using does not track the sale down to the penny. Like, you know, if you're using certain booking software like ERS, Inflatable Office, we usually work with, you can track down to the penny how much you're bringing in sales. I think BCN is starting to offer that soon, but this guy is not using a software that does that. So we just valued each sale at $200. So he spent $40 and got 3 sales. That's $600 at least in sales. And this kind of shows you that. And this is just the beginning. I mean, we barely started. We're not expecting those kind of results, but you get this visual dashboard that really shows you how you're doing in real time. And you can go ahead and change these dates to whatever you want to see, you know, how are we doing this week compared to last week. And the reason we do this, I mean, this took me a really long time to figure out how to do this, but the reason I do it is because when I worked with other marketers, they would give me like a 40-page report and every month and be like, okay, here you go, here's how we're doing. I'm like, okay, now what? You know, what do I do with this? So I really wanted to put together something really more visual for my clients where you can really look at this right away and say, this is how much we spent, this is how much we made, this is what we got to do to fix it. And once you have more data, this will say, you know, the ups and downs, if your numbers are up or down, et cetera, and it'll color them red and green. So it's really, really cool. Really, really proud of this. I love looking at these all the time. So these are just some more reviews of some people who we've worked with in the past year. You guys can screenshot this or read them later on. But really, I really pride myself on what I do. I'm a college instructor. I love teaching. I teach my clients, and that's really what people always mention to me. Thank you for being patient with me. I don't mind. I mean, it's really humbling. But if I had to tell you what I attribute my success to and why my clients are so happy with us, it's because we're patient with them and we teach as we go. I'm not afraid that you're going to learn Google Ads and leave me. My experience has been the opposite. The more I've taught people, honestly, it makes no sense. The more tools I give people to do things on their own, the more they realize the value in hiring somebody for it. And 9 times out of 10, they're like, you know, thank you for teaching me. I love your videos, but I'm just going to hire you to do it. I want this done right. And we're always happy to teach. We're all about, I own a party rental company myself. I'm all about showing you how many sales and how many bookings that helped you get or didn't help you get. And that's really, believe it or not, the biggest number we focus on when we're, you know, internally with me and my team, when we're talking about how an accountant's doing, we always focus on what they're not getting. You know how many bookings you got last year, how much money you made last year. You don't know how many you missed. That's what I focus on. My team and I were always focusing on how much did they miss and why? What can we do to increase their impression share? What can we do to increase their conversion rate? That's what we always look at, and that's done really, really well for us. So how much is the question, right? How much? Well, let me show you how much we don't charge. This is a quote I got from a big agency that supposedly it has the most party rental clients in out there in the United States. So they quoted me $1,400 a month, $1,485 to run my Google Ads for my own company, and they charge you have to spend at least $1,000 to $4,000 per month. They have a minimum, and you pay. This is what you pay Google, and this is what you pay them. Doesn't matter if you do good, you do bad. That's what they charge. And then if you're doing whatever visual stuff, they charge $500 per ad set. It's crazy, but that's what they quoted. And this company, when I saw what they quoted, I said, man, they must be doing really, really good work to be able to charge this much. And no sooner did I talk to these people started switching from them to me. I'm like, oh wow, I wonder how they did it. I was so excited to take over one of these guys' accounts and see how they did. And honestly, I was so disappointed. Literally within weeks, we dropped by 300%. We would drop their cost per click within a third, and we would get them so much more so many more conversions, so much more accurate reading, such a nicer account. I was very proud, and to see that this is what they charge and this is what they're what their results are, I was like, wow. I mean, I'm proud of myself, honestly, but really, I guess it's kind of like they're getting too big and they're just not paying attention. So this was my inspiration of who not to be like. Literally, I don't want to be this company. I do want to charge this much eventually. I hope I can charge that much one day. But you know, I don't want to bring that quality down. So last year I was working by myself and I charged $9.95 per account, $1,000 per account, and I turned down more people than I took. Right? I know a lot of you guys watching this are probably, you guys reached out to me last year and I couldn't take you on. It was a lot. Last year was hell for me because I was working by myself. This year we've expanded, we've grown our team, we've invested in software to make all of this easier, and now we have templates that make the job easier so we can charge much less, right? So instead of charging $1,000 per account, we're only charging $400 per account, okay? $400 per account, and that covers 3 categories, 3 of those campaigns. If you want to add more, then it's just $85 additional per month, right? So super, super economical, and we really make it so that if you're a smaller company, you only pay $400. As you grow, you pay a little bit more and a little bit more, and that's what we found to work best. We charge based on the size. Now, space is limited. We can only help so many people per account. These are all the people that we're helping as of I think last week, right? So if you're in one of these clusters, there's a chance that we can't help you. So reach out ASAP. If you're in Nebraska or Wyoming, take your time. But you know, these, again, I turned down more people than I took last year, even though I was charging $1,000 a month. So at this rate, it's going to go really, really quick. So what do we do for that price? We manage your Google Ads. We create the campaigns, ad groups, keywords, ads, extensions, everything I showed you right now. Our main goal is to maximize your Google Ads impression share within your given budget for the minimum cost per click possible. We're going to maximize your relevant click and minimize your irrelevant clicks. And really, guys, all that for, what is that, 1 rental for some of you guys? It's really a no-brainer. And that's how you got to think about it. Are you willing to sacrifice 1 rental to work with a professional where you can just put your hands up and say, hey, my marketing is taken care of. This person's going to take care of it for me, and go ahead and let us do it and show you the results. So it's really, really well worth it. What else can I tell you guys? We're going to track your sales, leads, phone calls, all that in there, and then you get the live marketing dashboard. Now, if you want to sign up, I would recommend you sign up online, because if you're going to wait to talk to me, my calendar is booked pretty far out. I'm going to jump on a Zoom right now where I can answer your questions. But if you go to eventhawk360.com, right at the top, it'll say Google Ads. Okay, Google Ads. And if you're on mobile, it's just a menu. You click on the Google Ads tab, and then from right there, you could sign up. So we have the free version, which is basically this video is in there from last year. $400 a month is what you want to sign up for. And then if you want Google Ads and EventHawk, you can sign up for that. This is a deadly combination. This has been literally doubling and tripling people's order amounts, and for what we're charging, it's a no-brainer. But that's a whole other topic. For now, I would just tell you guys, because we can take as many EventHawk clients in one area as you want. You can sign up. You can have 20 people, in an area using EventHawk. It's just like any other booking software. You and your competitor could use it and have different results because you're using it differently. But the Google Ads is what we have a limited amount. There's 4 spots at the top of Google. We're willing to take 3 per area for now. So if we can't help you, then we could talk about some other coaching program or something. But yeah, if you're interested, definitely go to eventhawk360.com. Go ahead and sign up there, and then we'll help you out at that price. So I'm going to go ahead and end the Facebook Live, and I'm going to put another link to the Zoom. If you have any questions, you guys can join me on Zoom. I'll take a few questions here. So I'm going to put the Zoom link in the comments, and ask me any questions you guys have. So we already have a few people in the Zoom, so I'm going to go ahead and jump out. Will we have a replay of this training? Yes, it's on Facebook, and it'll be on our website soon as well. And on YouTube, I'm not sure if I'm going to put it on YouTube. I'll see if I can get around to it. But yeah, I mean, why not? Eventually, I'm just not sure when I'll put it on YouTube. All right, thank you so much, guys. I'll see you guys in the Zoom. You guys have been awesome. I'll leave this slide up here if you guys want to go ahead and sign up, eventhawk360.com. If you have any other questions and you're watching this live, join me on the Zoom. If you're not watching this live, then go to our website and use this little chat widget here to ask any questions you like, and we'll do our best to help you. Thank you very much, guys. Take care.